So my dad was born in 1907, Aleppo in Syria, came to this country, the United States, by boat. There was no flights at the time, 1920. He had an older brother, but he wanted to work, he wanted to make money, he wanted to earn. Very young in 1920. He was 13 years old. He just came by himself. His sister lived here, was married to a gentleman named Joe Towel, his older sister, and the rest of his family was in Aleppo, Syria. And he started working and sending money to them, and eventually they all came in to the United States. So now his sister's husband, Joe Towel, his brother-in-law, owned this business, and he wanted his brother-in-law, Eli Dweck, to go to China and manage the factory at 18 years old, Shanghai, China, to move there. In those days, because he's smart and he's great and okay, no, business smart. He didn't go to school. He only finished 8th grade, but he was like, he wanted to be a lawyer. He wanted me to be a lawyer. So Eli Dweck becomes a lawyer. Kosher food. He lived by a rabbi's house. So anyway, he gets there to China, and the first Friday, there's payroll. He's got to sign the checks. They bring him the checks. He starts signing them. The guy from the bank pats him on the shoulder. Excuse me, son, how old are you? He said, 18. He says, you got to be 21 to sign checks. So he sends a telegram. In those days, it was called a cable, Western Union not calling up or sending a fax, or I got to come home. I can't do this. I'm too young. They said, hold it. Hold your horses. Relax. And a week later, he gets a package with a whole brand new thing that he was now born in 1904 and not in 1907. So he became 21 in 1 week. And that identity, that age, stayed with him till he passed away at 90. At 62 years old, the government thought he was 65. They started sending him checks of Social Security. And when he passed away at 90, we looked at the death certificate. It said he's 93. So because always he had 3 more years added to his age his whole life in the government. Okay, so now he's kosher. He's in China. He's in a place where he's able to, but he had an opportunity to come back from China and go manage a factory in Puerto Rico, much closer to home, much closer to New York. Now he's living in Puerto Rico. Every time there's a holiday, Rosh Hashanah, Kippur, Sukkot, he comes in. He goes to Brooklyn to go to shul to be with his sister and brother-in-law and his 9 nieces and nephews in the house on Bay Parkway in Bensonhurst. Right. And he's Uncle Eli, because they didn't call him Eli. It was Eli, Uncle Eli. And those are all his nieces and nephews. One of the holidays that he came, there was another visitor in the house. These kids had cousins in Mexico, my cousins. And Uncle Eli is there, right, with his sister Rachel and his brother-in-law Joe Towel. Joe Towel has a sister in Mexico, and her daughter is a cousin to all these kids. I'm going to come stay with my cousins. So she comes to visit the Towel house with the 9 kids there, and my father's there with his sister and brother-in-law, and he meets Esther Towel, Grandma Esther. So they all the cousins of my mother, when she came there, they said, you got to meet our Uncle Eli from Puerto Rico. He's the coolest guy. He's the greatest. She goes, I don't know, I'm 16 years old. What are you talking about? Anyway, they met in the house, in the Towel house with the 9 kids. And that's, so my father lived in Puerto Rico. My mother lived in Mexico. They were visiting the same house in Brooklyn on the Jewish holidays. They started communicating, letters, writing back and forth. They met again, got engaged, got married. And they got married in September of 1933 in Brooklyn, married by Chief Rabbi Jacob Kasson, the first chief rabbi of the community, number 1 rabbi. His son, Hamshaul, was also the chief rabbi. His grandson is the head rabbi here in West Deal, but he was the main man. And they were the first couple that he married in the United States. He was from Israel. I'm going to say from the age of 21, when I went into business, the cosmetics business that you know about, until 24 that I got married, I had a very exciting business, which had me traveling all around the country because we sold all the major department stores. And I had girls working for us in each city, Dallas, Texas, and Houston, and LA, Las Vegas, Chicago, wherever, Philadelphia. So we had a whole team, and it was really a lot of fun. And your grandma Mamie happened to be just a friend of mine because she was sister to Kemi, my friend Kemi Cohen, and that's his baby sister. So I know Mamie from when she's 13, 14 years old, but she's just a little kid. In fact, when I used to come to Bradley in the summertime, not Deal, I'd see her and we were like platonic friends. So I tell her stories about the girls that I met and everything that was going on. And little did I know that she was after me, 14, 15, 16. In the summer of 69, I had just renewed my apartment on 44th Street in Manhattan. Not many boys in the community had apartments in the 60s. So I lived there. I came home for Shabbat to Brooklyn. I lived in Manhattan on 44th Street, right down the block from the UN. In July, I had to renew my lease for the apartment. I'm single, I'm rolling, I have a public company, all the money in the world in my pocket. I'm going to buy horses with Morris Bailey, Irwin's brother. I mean, everything was amazing. So in the summer of 69, after I renewed my lease on 44th Street, I went to the beach July 4th weekend in Bradley Beach, 2nd Avenue Beach. And there was this girl in a green bikini, Mamie Cohen. And that was it. We started going out every single night of the summer. We were together. We got engaged Labor Day weekend. We started going out in July 4th weekend. 2 months later, less than 2 months later, we were engaged and we got married December 2nd. But yeah, I really knew her because we used to sing on the beach together. I'd be there with a guitar. She'd come on over. We would sing folk songs, Peter, Paul, and Mary. She would do harmony with me, and we would do all those kind of things. So I even took her prior to that, July, in April, 3 months before, Peter, Paul, and Mary, which was why I started playing the guitar. They had a concert in Carnegie Hall. So who am I going to take? I'm going to take Mamie Cohen to the concert. I took her to the concert as a friend. And then our friends got married to each other. Her friend Shirley Shamish got married to Morris Farka, Shirley Farka. They got married to each other. So I'm marching in the wedding, and Mamie's marching in the wedding. And of course, Shirley knew that Mamie liked me, so she put me together with her, and we marched together. I ended up driving her home that night. But still, she's my friend. We end up in front of her house until maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. All of a sudden, I hear a scream. This man is coming out of the apartment to the house, cursing, "Get the hell into the house." It was Kemi in his underwear, naked other than his underpants. And she couldn't believe it. What's he doing? So she leaves right away, and I get home into my house by East 2nd Street by Grandma Esther, and I get the phone call right away. She's calling me up. "I'm so sorry. I'm never going to talk to him again. I hate him. I can't believe it." So then the next morning, my office was on McDonald Avenue in Brooklyn.
Were you shaking?
No, I was angry. He was cursing. So the next morning, 9 o'clock, I go into work. My office and warehouse is on McDonald Avenue and Avenue X. Who's sitting in the waiting room when I walk into work? Kemi Cohen. And he walks into my office. He's my friend, you have to understand. He goes, "You have to please accept my apology." That's what happened. This is my mother. Every minute she would say, "Where's Mamie? She's out there in the car. Where is she? Where is she?" Finally, I couldn't take it anymore, and I ran out in the middle of my sleep and whatever. I said, "Okay, apology accepted." My friend, he should rest in peace, David Mizrahi, I remember, drove her. She asked him to drive her somewhere so that she could see me, and we just connected. And
She had a crush on you.
no doubt. No, no.
So funny.
She pulled me in.